Hello folks, welcome to a special edition of the Community Forum show, and I'm happy to announce that we have competition in the upcoming annual election. There are 2 openings for selectmen with 6 running, 2 openings for school committee with 3 running, and 1 opening for moderator with 3 running. A program note, on March 9th, Community Forum will hold a selectmen debate with candidates David Souza, John Samajian, Rick Hill, Michael Sullivan, Cynthia Walsh, and Pamela Carr. On March 2nd, we will hold the school committee debate with candidates Katie Pina Enochian, Sandra Gropi, and Erdem Ural. Joaquin Saws Jr. filed the necessary paperwork to be on the ballot, but in a recent phone conversation with me, he's decided to drop out of the contest. And in tonight's debate, we are featuring the moderator candidates, Howard Hansen, Joseph Mokrisky, and Adam Dawkins. And to get us underway, each candidate will be given 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then we will begin with the questions. Starting with Mr. Hansen, would you mind giving us a 2-minute resume of yourself?
Oh, I think I can do that, but probably my resume would be much longer. However, I am the current moderator for the town of Stoughton. I've been involved with Stoughton Town government now 48 years, and of which over 26 of those years has served as moderator. I've been a lifelong, well, my life ain't all over yet, resident of the town. So that's my background. I've been a businessman in the town since I started my business when I was 11 years old.
Really? That young? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mokrisky, 2-minute resume of your life.
Want to use any of his time?
No.
Thank you, Roy, and thank you for having this forum. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Mokrisky. I'm a lifelong resident of the town. I'm the father of 2 great boys, Michael, 28, who lives in Mansfield, and my son Brian, who is 25, who will be very shortly a member of the Stoughton Police Department, who my 2 boys are my life. My girlfriend Maria Simus, lifelong Stoughton resident. So I'm very proud of all the people that are around me, family and friends. I was first elected to office in 1986 as a town meeting representative. I served some time on the Finance Committee, Charter Review, and then I was elected to the Board of Selectmen in 1992, and I have done since that time 15 years, I'm concluding, as a member of the Board of Selectmen, which I'm very proud of, and thankful to the residents who have had trust in me, even though they didn't really agree with me on every issue throughout my career, but still had the faith that I was trying to do the right thing for the town. So I thank you for your past support. Did 3 years as chairman of the Redevelopment Authority and had some groundbreaking involvement with the Redevelopment Authority in the town of Stoughton, where we started to get involved with some of the projects that were going on and help fund studies to get these things done, because in a time in tightened tax rules, we need to be able to get some money from outside resources. So we did some great things there. And I'm running for the position of moderator, not because I dislike anyone else or I would say anyone's doing a terrible job, but sometimes we can add a flair. I'm dedicated to moving meetings ahead, to running meetings so that everybody has a right to be heard and that we're prepared properly, and that I have the experience in delivering results for the residents of Stoughton. I'm asking for your vote, and again, thanking those of the residents who have voted for me over my 15 years as a member of the Board of Selectmen. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Dawkins.
Well, thank you, Roy, very much. It's good to see you again, and good to be here with everybody.
Thank you.
My name is Adam Dawkins, and I did not grow up in Stoughton, but I am very, very proud to call Stoughton my home now for the past 5 years. I grew up in a town called Greenville, South Carolina, and it is unfortunately a city that is not blessed to have a form of government like a town meeting. It is since I moved to New England 5 years ago, when my job brought me to Boston by way of Washington, D.C. for several years, that I've come to know and embrace how valuable the form of government of town meeting is, and what a great reflection of a true democracy it is. It's a great gift that's been given to us, and it's a gift that needs to be stewarded, and a gift through which people like you and me can come together and bring our ideas to the table. and take control of our own destiny as a town and work together to make it a better place. I graduated from the University of South Carolina. I moved to Washington and was there for about 7 years and lived in the middle of the city there as a nonprofit fundraiser, which is my professional background. Did an MBA at Trinity University while I was there in Washington, and came to Boston. When my job brought me to Boston in 2012, I decided I was sick and tired of living in the middle of the city and wanted to live in a place where I could be part of a community and know my neighbors and get deeply involved in the place that I live. It's been a tremendous joy to be here in Stoughton, and I got involved the day that I got here almost, only when a very short time I got to know John Stagnoni and got involved in Friends of the State Theater. I started a Facebook group called Stoughton Enthusiasts, which is now about 1,800 people who get together online to express their desires and hopes and joys about living here in Stoughton. And as the creator of that, and having talked a big game about how much I love this town that I live in, I've decided it's time for me to put my money where my mouth is and jump in and try to be part of making a real difference.
Very good. Right up to the 2 minutes. I can figure out how to make this thing work. Mr. Mokrisky, believe it or not, and I found this very recently, I was talking to an individual in Stoughton who doesn't live here, but he doesn't know what a moderator does. So can you describe the position and responsibility of the moderator in 2 minutes?
Well, for people that don't know what a moderator does, town meeting, as Adam mentioned, is our greatest form of municipal government. There are issues that need to go to town meeting that are not in the power of the town charter under our town manager, board of selectmen, or any of the committees. Town meeting can vote spending. Town meeting approves the budget. Town meeting approves any big, large building projects, as we saw with the school project, our recent high school, which was a great project for the town. That all goes to town meeting. The department heads, through their town manager, and then the board of selectmen, present the budget annually to town meeting. And the residents who run for town meeting are the ones who decide where that money goes. So over the years, people have been going away from town meeting because it just becomes a little bit more encumbersome. And what we need to do is get back to the basics we had, where everybody had a say, that we were prepared so that the people can do the town's business. The moderator would be assisting people with articles that go to town meeting if they didn't know how to do it. Bring them to town hall, work with the town clerk's office, have things reviewed to help them if they have an issue that they wanted to do something different in town. It has to be voted by the town meeting. Look at town meeting as the legislature of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We are the legislative branch. We have the executive branch, the governor, which would be considered the board of selectmen, the highest executive authority in the town. They hire the town manager to work and do the daily management of the community. The board of selectmen set policies, procedures, their water and sewer commissioners, street commissioners, and they set the policies as to how those departments will run. But when it's all said and done with, the last line of defense for the individual taxpayer is town meeting. And I hope that whoever you decide to vote for in this race, that you consider running for town meeting, because that's your voice. That's where you get to say what goes on in your town. And it is the last decision in municipal government.
Very good. Mr. Dawkins, your explanation of what the moderator position, what it does.
Well, in my mind, Roy, I think that the town moderator is a lot more than just a traffic cop that makes sure that things run smoothly and that traffic in our town meeting goes efficiently. The town moderator's primary role, I think, is one of empowerment. It's one of making sure that we create a space and we create an environment where people are able to express their ideas and express their thinking and express their feelings about different articles that we're talking about and different topics and different policies and different budgets and all sorts of different things that we discuss in town meeting, to discuss those ways, those items that are in a way that's efficient, in a way that is inviting and encouraging for people to bring their ideas forward. I think that people who run for town meeting and people who are in town meeting are people who want to make a difference in this town. They're people who are interested in making Stoughton a better place. And some people have wonderful ideas about how to do that, and they're not real sure how to make that happen. I think one of the roles of the moderator ought to be one of demystifying town government for people. and it ought to be a place where people can come and say, you know, I really have a wonderful idea about how we can improve our town center. I'm not real sure how to get started with that. Well, here's what's your idea, and let's look at that, and let's figure out a way that you can get involved in the process and make some of those things happen.
Okay, very good. Mr. Hansen, can you describe the position and the responsibility of the moderator?
Well, one of the first things to remember is the moderator is responsible as a guardian of our most precious form of government, and that is a democratic system. And if those people who wish to make it efficient, efficiency and democracy are opposite meanings. If you channel people and limit their participation, you miss the goal of town meeting being a forum for not entertaining, but even considering all persons' views and ability to contribute to an outcome of that town meeting where everybody is accepting the result of that forum. And I have, over my many years in town meeting as well as moderator, I've always had an open door, and I have assisted many, many people in the preparation to coming to town meeting. And several of the practices that I have instituted as moderator include an orientation program to town meeting members when they run, to actually take and do promotions for town meeting, and those, you have to be able to bring people together and have them have civil discourse.
Mm-hmm.
And no one should be going away from town meeting disappointed with the town meeting, because it's everybody who makes that decision. But do not expect the moderator to use his power to serve himself, but serve the community.
Okay, thank you. Adam, does the moderator get paid? There's people have asked me about that, and I'm not sure what the answer is, but does the moderator get paid, and how much, and what are your thoughts about that?
So the moderator is currently, according to our town charter, I believe the only elected job that has a stipend attached to it. And I believe that stipend, if I'm not mistaken, in last year, in the 16 budget was, or 17 budget was $4,600, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I find that personally inappropriate. I don't believe that the moderator ought to be the only person who's paid. $4,600 is a lot of money. That's somebody's property tax. If that were my property tax, and it is about my property tax, I could think of a lot better use for my property tax than paying the person to stand up there and be the moderator, which is a job that I'm running for because I want to make a difference in the town that I live in and the town I love. I don't need to get paid in order to do that. So if I'm elected moderator, I would not accept that, and I would ask that the budget be reduced to $1 for that stipend until we are able to change the charter to eliminate it altogether.
Hmm. Okay. Joe, same question.
Okay. Well, I'll take the $4,600. And there are going to be people saying, "See, I knew it." Well, what I'm not going to give it back, but as I do believe, is that the money should be used to make town meeting more accessible to people, to give resources to town meeting members. I plan on establishing a website which will be useful to town meeting members. There'll be links to state agencies. There'll be links to programs that help people understand as a town meeting reps, handbooks. And I'm also going to launch something that's never been done in Stoughton before, is that I'm going to put a link on there that allows town meeting representatives to go in and benchmark other communities against ours. Because every time we go into the budget, people always want to know what similar towns are doing. I'm going to launch this app on the website where town meeting reps can log in and they can look at comparable communities. They can see what our neighboring towns are spending on money, so that when they vote the budget, they're doing it with information. Okay, so the $4,600 I'm not going to give back. I'm going to put it back to work for people. Every job that I've had in the town of Stoughton, in my 18 years as an elected official, I've never been paid a dime. I don't need the money, but I will use it and put it back to work for town meeting, to make town meeting better for all the town meeting representatives.
Mr. Hansen?
Well, I certainly take my salary. I believe that I spend far more time devoted to the town, and I have taken many times money out of my pocket to do the job. I have covered for many of the infallibilities and loose ends with public officials who are not even familiar with the job. And I'm going to say that I have seen a lot in my past few years with changing town clerks, changing town managers, changing department heads. And also, I represent the town of Stoughton. I am a citizen of the town of Stoughton. I also get tax bills, even tax bills, very big tax bills. And I have devoted 48 years of service to this town. My father served as a registrar of voters. He had been in town meeting 68 years. And I don't think I'm going to make my totally 68 years. And there is a time when you're going to have to, if this is your income, and lose time. And there has been times that I have not had salary. But I also know that if I can't, you have a budget, and the budget has to be such that it does serve the town. Mr. Mokrisky is correct. You probably will spend a lot more out of than that kind of money to do a lot of things. And a salary is a salary, and I'm going to disclose that I'm probably one of the last elected officials that is on the Norfolk County retirement.
Okay, Howard, thank you. The next question is going to be kind of a two-part question, one for you and one for the other two. Why have you decided to rerun for town moderator after so many years?
Well, I made a commitment to this town when I took this office. I'm committed to the town. I haven't used it for other purposes. I don't believe I should have power. A lot of people think I have power. It is not power. The power is in the people that elect me. I have two obligations when I became moderator. First is assistant deputy moderator. I had the obligation to the town meeting members to see that they got a properly run town meeting. And as an elected moderator, serving the whole town, giving them full access to town meeting. Mm-hmm. And the question of efficiency rises on that. We have a situation in this town that there's not always cooperation between the departments.
Okay.
So that's why I'm running. I took a commitment, and I intend to keep that commitment.
Okay, thank you. Joe, same question. Why have you decided to run for town moderator?
Well, let me just say, right up front that, I'm not going to criticize or say anything. These are just my ideas. That I admire Mr. Hansen and his commitment to the town. He's committed a lot of time. But I'm running because I've seen it changing, and we haven't changed with it. Town meeting. There are good town meeting representatives that don't come anymore, that were dedicated, that we all know. And town meeting needs to change with the times. We need to be stronger in presentation to make sure that there's a debate that's equal, and we don't just have people getting up and making political statements and trying to drive the agenda. We've got to make sure that balanced debate is at every meeting. Department heads, I agree. The administration on both sides needs to provide more information to the town meeting representatives. I think with more upfront organization, meetings, we can get this done so that the information is there. Now, I heard a department head at a last town meeting say, oh, we've never done it that way. Well, that department head hasn't been here that long to know that we've always done it that way. It changed under your experience in the town. So on my first day as moderator, I intend to bring every department head in the town manager's office and superintendent's office together with legal counsel, and we're going to review every single article. We're going to make sure the wording is correct. We're going to make sure the committee reports are there. And then we're going to have a list as to who's presenting these articles. When it's an issue on the school budget, who will be standing up and speaking, so that we have it organized. When there's aids, handouts that are needed, who's going to produce the handouts, okay? We need to know that. We're going to make sure it's organized. We're going to make sure it runs better, and we're going to get people to come back, and we're going to get new people to run for town meeting.
Thank you. Adam? Same question?
Sure. Well, Roy, I'm sitting here in the presence of two gentlemen who have very honorably served this town for many years. I think in any healthy democracy and in any healthy situation, we do what I did at my house at this very beautiful day that we have outside today, and that is that sometimes you have to open up the windows and let in the fresh air. I think that's really sort of why I decided to jump into this race. When I came to Stoughton, I immediately got involved here in town. I have heard and chatted with and spoken with hundreds of people, not only through social media, but in gatherings of people that we've had here in town to do with our Stoughton enthusiast group. I've become a member of town meeting myself. And this is a job for which I feel that my background qualifies me, and this is a way that I can make a significant difference in the town that I live in. In my professional life, I'm a nonprofit fundraiser. Currently, I work at Trinity Church in Copley Square as running a significant capital campaign to redo that building and to restore it and refresh it. I think I look forward to a similar opportunity to work here with Stoughton about how we restore and refresh and renew our town, and we work together in order to do that and figure out the right way to bring all of our resources to the table in a way that's efficient and inviting on a level playing field, that everybody has a voice at the table.
My question to Joe, we'll start off with you. How can we encourage more citizens to participate in our form of town government? Current numbers are that there are 14 openings in Precinct 1, 7 in Precinct 3, 7 in Precinct 4, 13 in Precinct 5, 8 in Precinct 6, 13 in Precinct 7, and 15 in Precinct 8 for a total of 77. The only good precinct is Precinct 2. And the other thing that bothers me an awful lot is both Housing Authority and Redevelopment Authority, no candidates. To what do you attribute this apparent lack of interest in serving our local government? Should we consider changing our form of government?
No, I would never support changing our form of government. We need to make it work better. I mean, the town meeting, your elected officials is working in Stoughton. We need to make it work better. And I think some people leave town meeting, they work for a living. There's 2 members of the family that work, they're raising children, they don't have the time. There are people that have said town meeting runs way too long. You know, you get there, it's confusing. It's the same people that get up and ask questions. There was a Boston Globe article that came out that was just that, Stoughton residents that just were saying all these. It's run by a small group of people, which I don't think is true. But those people that get up and speak all the time, it could be viewed that way. What I want to do is to reach out to the older town meeting representatives that have been there before, people that might have left and tried it a couple years, reach out to them. That's the one thing. With computers right now and social media, you can reach out to these people. What I would often want to do is sit right at the lobby of Town Hall, and help people go in and get their papers, help them run, give them mailing lists of their precincts so that they can go out and mail cards or make phone calls to get their friends out to vote. And just show them how easy it is to run. But I think we'll solve a lot of that if we could just get, town meeting running more efficiently, getting the debate done where people are getting some investment out of their time. And I think the biggest complaint we hear is it's just taking too long. Now, last couple of the sessions went pretty good. But again, we need to build on that. We can't say, okay, it happened. We need to build it. We need to structure it that now every time we have a meeting, we're going to use a process that works. People need to have their voice heard. The balanced debate needs to be there so that not everybody comes up and speaks on one side of the issue. The people that have a negative side to it need to be able to get up there. But also the most important thing is the people that are doing the job for the town every day, our department heads and our leaders in the town need to come with proper information. With that, people will see it and they'll come back.
Very good. Mr. Hansen, same question.
Well, first of all, in answer to changing your form of government, it isn't the form of government, it is those who form that government. And town meeting is still a participatory thing. Efficiency, does that mean limiting people to speak or having an open forum? I do not, as moderator, ask people what their opinion is. They came up there to discuss something, to contribute to the meeting, and to artificially balance it. It becomes quite obvious the right to move the previous question and just to cut off debate is the privilege of the meeting itself. And if we have had simple basic rule, a presentation is 5 minutes at the most, unless it's a complicated issue, and there's still the town meeting members have the right to say, no, you've had enough. Number two on that is we have saved quite a bit of time by having people come down and sit right and ready to be prepared to come to town meeting. Number three, I have no idea, and even standing on that platform, of seeing what is in your head. And it's a free forum, and town meeting will take care of itself. But the thing, and I do agree very much with you, Mr. Mokrisky, that cooperation and information is not always brought forward. But one of the other things in the aspect is we have a system of public hearings where the public is able to come, ask, and to make recommendations for town meeting on the articles in the warrant.
Okay. Adam,
Sure.
Same question?
Yeah. Sometimes it takes somebody who's from away to remind us all what a great gift this form of government actually is. When I got involved in town meeting as a town meeting representative, I was filled with excitement. I'm still very filled with excitement to be part of this because it's a wonderful way to make a real difference in the community that you live in. Not every place is privileged to have this form of government. I didn't grow up with that, but I'd say the folks back in my native South Carolina are really missing out. I think that it's a real shame that people aren't falling over themselves to run for town meeting. People should embrace this. People should want to be involved. I think sometimes people just don't understand the point. I think sometimes people don't understand what a difference town meeting makes. They don't understand that this is where your tax dollars get spent. So I think a lot of education is necessary. I think some encouragement is necessary. I think some of the ways we talk about town meeting needs to be looked at, and the way we encourage people. And I think we ought to be inviting each other and encouraging each other to get involved in town when people express new ideas for how we're going to move forward as a community. I think we have to run town meeting in such a way that honors the time commitment that people are putting into this. It needs to be run efficiently and on a level playing field using rules of order that people are accustomed to and that everybody has access to.
Well, I certainly wish there was a way to fill those vacancies. That bothers me a lot. It's just...
Do you want
Go ahead, Mr. Hansen.
on filling vacancies, I don't think we asked that. I mean, answered that in that time limit.
How do we fill the vacancies, Adam?
Well, I did sort of touch on that, but I think we fill the vacancies through educating people, by telling people, by helping people to understand why it matters and what a difference town meeting makes and what their role is in shaping the future of our town.
Okay. Joe, a frequent complaint is that town meeting lasts too long and fails to start on time. Although I guess the last couple of times it's been it's been shorter and better. How would you fix that situation?
Well, I think I outlined that earlier, but I talk about efficiency and preparation, and and it's come out efficiency shouldn't be used to block anyone, and I think that efficiency encourages people that when we can bring more debate forward and run the meetings so that everybody has that opportunity to speak, and if information is not presented to the town meeting representatives that's clear and that is backed up with data, and it's backed up with a handout that somebody can look at and read, or if something has been provided to town meeting representatives for a lot of years, no department head just stops bringing it, because then we sit there for 15, 20 minutes and talk about why it's not there and why are you hiding it. That's where efficiency comes in. We set up town meeting before we go into it. We're prepared so that when we go in, we're like an orchestra. We know. And let's face it, people are always going to the Boston Pops to hear the orchestra, because they do what they're supposed to do. Every area works like clockwork. That's what town meeting needs to do right now. And to demand something less is unacceptable. That's why we have as many openings as we have as many people that have been to town meeting and left. So we have people interested. They want to be there, but it's not running the way it needs to run. We need to be better, and that's what I want to bring. I've run meetings, as you know, as chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Mm-hmm. Everybody had the right to speak. I was the person that instituted the citizens' comments section, because it was needed to give people the opportunity to speak. But when you run a meeting, it needs to run consistently. It can't get off base. It can't get off track, and it's got to be there to get information to people to make the best decision to run our town. So, I think when we make these changes, and even Adam's ideas are not wrong. It's just what each one of us bring to the table. But we've got to make it better. We've got to get it working so that people will come back. If we can get the people back, Roy, that's half our battle, to go out and get people to fill those extra spots.
Very good. Mr. Hansen, same question.
Well, first of all, preparation. My work as moderator begins way back in October. That's a long time, but I work out, we have a timeline that is very well set up in our charter. It wasn't always that way. And when we have an executive come into the town, is totally unfamiliar with a representative town meeting, and says the timeline is all wrong, and now there's a move afoot that a member of the Board of Selectmen submitted articles to take away the time town meeting has to do its own deliberations. We have a public hearing on every single article except for the election and the receiving of reports. That is standard. Town meeting runs partially by tradition, 90% by tradition. Just as if you go into church, you have a certain way of doing things, the order of service, and if you sway from that, people will say it's not the same. However, you're dealing with a lot of people with a lot of views, and it is still right that they have the privilege to speak. And I do agree with Mr. Mokrisky in his statement that we don't always have the information. But I do have a record book of everything that goes on, every single article. I have to have that material because oftentimes that is subpoenaed by town council, by bond council, and that isn't been done.
All right, Howard, I want to interrupt you and take a little bit out of your time. The question is that the complaint is town meeting lasts too long and fails to start on time. And how would you fix that? That's the question we're asking right now.
Too long, I don't understand where that comes from, other than the fact that there is a warrant. The selectmen have the obligation to put things before town meeting, and do expect that. You're a bigger town.
Are there too many articles?
If you put articles in that are placeholders, that is, I'm going to call it, ridiculous. am with Ms. Mokrisky is correct about is if you're going to put an article in the warrant, it should be ready. It shouldn't have to be drafted by somebody else. Be ready to do it.
Okay.
Those are the things that stop and make things cumbersome.
All right. Adam, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first part of your question was starting on time. I mean, the simple
Second part of the question.
Second part of the question.
The first part was town meetings lasting too long and fails to start on time.
Sure. Well, I'll take the first part first. Then I think there's a lot of things we can do in advance of town meeting to predict and to control how long it's going to take. I think there are some mechanisms we could put in place about how long debate could take. I think there's some things we could talk about to make sure there's an understanding and a clear definition of who is presenting an article and how that and how the question and answer period might go as that article is being introduced. How long might be allotted? How much time might be allotted to pro and con debate on that? Of course, that's always subject to being extended by majority vote of the body. So there are all sorts of ways we can predict and control how long things might be able to go. I think there's the work that can be done ahead of time also, that we take a very strong look and a very hard look at the sorts of topics that can be taken up together in the same article. And with the collaboration and work and advice of our legal counsel, decide which of those things might be able to be taken together. And secondly, in terms of starting on time, I mean, you know, if town meeting is meant to start at 7 o'clock, the gavel should come in at 7 o'clock. And that's just the end of it. I mean, and if I'm elected, I can tell you that if we're supposed to start at 7, we'll start at 7.
Okay, thank you. Howard? Hansen, Mr. Hansen, the moderator appoints members to serve on standing committees, as you're well aware. Some people allege cronyism. How would you make the process transparent?
Well, that's interesting. We got 4 cronies sitting here, right?
Me too.
All right. And cronyism is a positive and sometimes it's negative.
Okay.
All right. I have always interviewed my appointees. I sometimes point people, they ask, why did you appoint that person? Because I think they can contribute something. In particular, the Finance Committee, which is the key. Moderator has 9 appointments. They are staggered terms of 3 years. I have no control who is elected out of the precinct. That's a balanced committee. I ask about their experience, people who want to be on there, their experience, that what they can contribute, how much they know about finances. And we do have a number of people who have very much better financial background than I have. And I look forward to those people. And sometimes they may not agree with me. But I say that they're there to look at the numbers, and if they see something that is different from me, that's what they're there for.
Okay. Adam, same question.
Could you state the question again, Roy?
The moderator appoints members to serve on standing committees. Some people allege cronyism. How would you make the process transparent?
I think we should take a hard look at how many appointments the moderator has and how the moderator makes those appointments. Obviously, the moderator, under the current town charter and the way it's written, has 9 appointments, as Howard said, to the Finance Committee. As long as that's in place, I think that I would be very much in favor of calling together an ad hoc committee of town meeting members on appointments. And seriously vetting applications of the right candidates to things like Finance Committee. Finance Committee is a very, very important body to our town government. And I think that the moderator should not necessarily be making those appointments all alone. Obviously, again, according to the charter, the moderator makes those appointments officially. But I think under the advice of an ad hoc committee that could help discern the right candidates for those very important jobs would be in order.
Okay. Joe, same question.
Yeah, what I want to do, I'm going to use a couple seconds of my time to back up. When we talked about efficiency and now this one on cronyism, is that I just want to point out, I think it's important for people to know, is that some of this talks, and it's almost like it's criticizing and bringing out the current moderators' failures, which is not the case. I admire this man. You know, I've met Adam for the first time. I've been around a long time. I've heard of Adam. I know people that say he's a great guy. I think that. Very pleasant man. This is more about how we're going to get things done, you know, and what we all bring. We all have a love for the town. We all want to make a difference. And again, I think whatever we do in the position of moderator, whoever's elected, is going to do the right job. So I just wanted to say that because I just don't want it to look like it's ganging up on how it's done. And Howard has not had cooperation when it comes to getting ready for town meeting in the past. There are people that have actually sidestepped him, you know, in this process. Mm-hmm. The difference is what you bring. That won't happen with me. You're not going to sidestep me. If I'm going to run this process for town meeting reps, I'm going to do it. I know it's just the style that we bring. It's the commitment to the job. We all have it. Cronyism, I mean, no matter what you do. In my 18 years, I've been accused of having cancer. I've been accused of having 15 girlfriends. People are going to talk. I'm not going to worry about what people are saying. I'm going to do the job I was elected to do. I'm going to balance the Finance Committee to make sure that if we're heavily in a very liberal, I like to spend coming out of the town meeting precinct representatives, I'm going to try to appoint more people conservative to balance the debate of the Finance Committee, so that both sides of town government, which are crucially important to us right now with the new school being built and with the deficit we have in the fire department, you know, because we weren't funding that department the way we need a fire station. We're going to have some huge financial obligations facing us very shortly. We're into it now, but it's going to get more. So we need to have balanced appointments to the Finance Committee, you know, from the moderator.
Okay, good answer. Mr. Dawkins.
Yes.
The issue of charter review has been raised over 10 years, and to the best of my knowledge, nothing has been done. I could be wrong. The moderator plays a pivotal role in this matter. Will you make this one of your priorities?
Absolutely. You know, town charters exist to serve town governments and help our town government run according to a set of rules and a set of standards that are appropriate for this day and age. You know, a town charter needs to be a living and breathing document, and I think there are always things that we should be looking at in the charter that may have been appropriate when they were written, but they may not be serving us well in today's reality, in today's world. So I think there should be a constant review of the charter to make sure that it's living, that it's a document that serves the needs of the town, and it serves our best interests and serves the best use of our resources. So yes, I would make that a priority.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Hansen, same question.
Well,
in addition, why hasn't anything been done up till now?
well, first of all, things have been up. I spent over 3 years reforming the election process in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it has had unintended consequences. Number two, we have a town meeting charter review committee that has been in existence. It's a temporary committee, even though it's been here about 40 years. And we have updated. And I worked with the commission when that charter was developed. And if you think I'm protecting the charter, yes, I'm protecting the charter. There's a deep philosophy in that charter when it was molded. And some of it has become a model for other towns. And I learned that from a professor in New York when he saw I was from Stoughton. And it has been constantly updated, and yours truly has been the author of 35 of the 38 amendments to the charter. Mm-hmm. What we have as an issue here is we have paid officials who want to ignore those things. And I consider the moderator's job as a guardian of both democracy, town meeting, and that charter.
Okay, thank you. Joe?
No, I agree. I'll be short. Many other communities, when they have looked at, when we talked about redoing our form of government, several communities in the Commonwealth, and there's only a very small, I think only 3 of them have changed their form of government in recent years. So it's not an answer.
9.
9? I didn't get the number I got from the Moderators Association, wasn't 9. But anyway, so even if it's 9, I'll give you that. If it's 9, it's still not that many. But they all started by reviewing their charter. They all went back to the base of what their government is all about, the town charter, in their town meeting. And they did. And they did witness that changing the charter, because the way the state changes some of their rulings and how we submit our budget, that the time frames are off, and they found it to be helpful. They also did other things on how the responsibilities are of the employees. I mean, we're in a changing world, and we all know that when I got involved in '86, or when Howard or whoever, there was a lot different mood of people. Society was different. Town meeting reps had more time. So now as times are changing, our town government has to recognize those changes if it's going to be successful, as it has been for a lot of years. So the first thing I would do as well is I would establish, and I mentioned this in another forum, I would establish a committee that's made up of some employees to make sure that it is all done the right way on how they see it, as well as people in the school department, on the municipal side, town meeting, and then the Charter Study and Review Committee can have something to work with to take that. And if it takes a few years to do it the right way, then that's what we do. But we've got to start with charter review. It has been too long. Granted, we only should change the charter when it's needed, but every once in a while, it never hurts to dust it off and to get the debate going again.
Dust it off, huh?
Dust it off.
Okay.
It's a great document.
Town meeting time is the guiding light for town meeting. There's a second one. Was it Robert's Rules?
Robert's Rules.
Which would you prefer? I'll start with you on that one.
I'd use them both. There's a lot of discretion by moderators. There's not a lot of specific rule that says the moderator will do this, the moderator won't do that. I will use, and town meeting times is a great document. Robert's Rules of Order brings a little bit more structure. So why not use them both? I mean, let's take the good parts of both of those and adapt those into some change that people can see, and the process is a little bit easier. And it brings other people, the paid employees, the people that are asking for these monies and asking to build, that use that so that we can get the best information from those people.
Good answer. Howard, quick.
Town meeting time was written specifically for town government. And it embraces some things from Roberts, from Cushing's, from other rules of order, and some things, those don't apply to town government. And I'll give you a perfect example. The term dissolve is not in those books. Dissolving a town meeting is a very specific procedure. That also, it's not accessibility is the issue. Those are like tools in the toolbox. You can put the tools in the toolbox, but if you don't know how to apply them or where to apply them, that is the key. And yes, town meeting time is now in its third printing of the third edition. And that was started in 1961. It was reviewed by several attorneys and even experience. It does address things like what do you do with Prop 2.5. It does express what is the quantum of votes that are required, and all of those things that are pertinent. Yes, some things are left to the individual town. Like I said before, tradition drives a lot of town meeting.
Okay, thank you. Adam, same question?
Yeah. It is for me a question of accessibility. Town meeting time is not in the public domain, yes, it was developed for use by New England town meetings, yes, it is in its third printing, but it also costs, I believe, $25 a copy. And I can't, if I'm the moderator, I can't go and legally make copies of that and give out to all the members of the town meeting so that they all have a copy of town meeting time. And I don't know that everybody wants to go.
I beg to differ you. Every town finance committee report since 1990 has included the basic chart of what is absolutely necessary to be in front of town meeting, from town meeting time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Continue.
It's fine. It's not available in the public domain, and people can't get easy access to it necessarily. And Robert's Rules of Order is in the public domain. I can download a copy of it. I could put it in the back of the warrant. You could do whatever you wanted to do with it. Is Robert's Rules always the perfect way to go about using it to run our town meeting? Maybe, maybe not. But I think whatever it is we use needs to be something that is widely distributed, that's accessible to people and understood by people. It should not only be the moderator who understands how the meeting should run.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're running to the end of the program. Hope everybody has enjoyed watching the debate, and this time we'll have a 2-minute pitch from each of you, trying to convince the people that you're the one to vote for. Joe?
Great. Well, thank you, Roy, and thank you to everybody that's tuning in and watching this show. I've been very honored to serve this town in elected office for 18 years, and I've done that by never forgetting the people that I serve, and that's the residents, taxpayers, voters, the people of Stoughton. Now, again, we're all here talking about asking for your vote. And as I said earlier, I don't think any of us are out here running because there's something wrong, but there is a need for change. I have been consistent in wanting for change for years. I've fought for change consistently, to meet times, to hold people accountable, to run meetings so that the people at home watching and people that attend the meetings can get a value and feel like their voice has been heard, and that things are taken away from it to act on it. Now, I understand people will look and say that, what do you bring differently? I've been lucky enough to say, I'm going to bring to you as the moderator what I brought as the selectman, is to run meetings fairly, to make sure you have a voice. We will make changes to get town meeting more informed, to have resources for town meeting, and to continue what I've always done, is to hold the people that you pay for the daily operation of this town accountable, and in this case, accountable to the town meeting representatives. The people of Stoughton, as Adam mentioned directly and fairly, it is the best form of democracy. It allows you at home to come into town meeting and have a say how your tax money is going to be spent. We need to make it a little bit better. We need to include it. We need to have more inclusion, more preparation. I promise to you, with your vote that I'm asking you for now, that I will work hard for you. I will never forget the trust you've put in me. I will make myself available, and I will show you results. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hansen, 2-minute response there.
Let me put it as a senior town official that you have seen my performance for over 26 years and serving 47 years or 48, I forget now, in town meeting. It has been pretty much 2/3 of my life, more than that. Yeah, about somewhere, not taking numbers. And this is not a time to have rookies coming into town meeting. Experience is very important. And I believe that I have the experience to continue serving this town and assuring that town meeting is well run and accepts contributions as are being discussed here.
Okay. Adam, wrap it up.
Absolutely. Well, I might be a rookie, but I think this is an election about honoring the great tradition of town meeting in Stoughton, a form of government that has served this town well for many generations and will hopefully continue to serve it well for many generations to come. The person who should be moderator is the person who can be organized, who can run things efficiently, fairly, and on a level playing field. And that's what I hope to bring to this office. I'm running for this office because I've never been somebody who sits on my thumbs. I try to find the right way for myself to get involved and to make a difference in the place that I live. And the place that I live now and the place that I hope to live for many, many years as a part of this community is here in Stoughton. And I believe I have all the right gifts. I believe I have some ideas about encouraging and improving our participation in this form of government in our town, and to invite and encourage people to jump on board and get involved in something. I can tell you, as a fairly new person to town meeting myself, it's awfully exciting, and it is not a waste of time, and we can work together to make Stoughton a much better place to live and to give it a future brighter than any past that we've ever seen.
Very good. Okay, that wraps up our little debate. I thank you for watching. I also would like to thank the three candidates for participating, and especially give thanks to Mike Hammond, Dave Young, Leo McGowan, and Jeff Pickett for helping to make tonight's program flow. And I encourage you to watch next week when we have the school committee debate on March 2nd, and on March 9th, watch the selectmen debate. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Roy Cohen saying thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.